Greetings, listeners, and welcome to The Spiritual Experience, a show where we share stories of life, love, and redemption for all of humanity on Earth. So sit back and enjoy. Try to identify with the speakers and not compare. Don't forget to subscribe on all podcast platforms. I'm your host, Jay Lewis, and here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Spiritual Experience. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're beating the heat and not your meat. Or if you want to do that, you can as well. No big deal. Either way, we got a special guest today. Somebody that I've known is one of my longest and oldest friends that since I got, into recovery, that like I haven't ruined this relationship. Where like I've never had friends for a long time that's like my brother that I haven't done some bad shit to, which is nice.
Yeah, either one of us ruined it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like one of my oldest friends. So everybody say hello to Tone. Tone, say what up.
What's up? What's up, everybody?
All right, so
wait, you got no theme music, bro?
The theme music comes in after I edit, bro.
Oh, okay.
I can't play.
I kind of want to hear that shit.
It's funny.
What's it sound like? Can you hum it?
It's a little bit hip hop. And it's, you'll love it. I promise you'll love it. You'll love it. So tell everybody where you're from.
It's not like a simple one-word answer, really. I was born in Brooklyn. My whole family, like 5 generations, Brooklyn. Not far from here, actually, in Fort Greene, Long Island University Hospital. No, Brooklyn Hospital, right by LIU. And when I was young, we moved out to Long Island. I grew up in Long Island, and I've been back in Brooklyn for a long amount of time. So, I don't know, I'm from all over New York.
Right. I heard back in the day that good portions of Fort Greene used to be Italian. There were Italians all over that place.
Yeah, I just came out, I popped out in the hospital there, and then was carted off to Bay Ridge and Bensonhurst.
Nice.
So,
do you still have family out there in Bay Ridge or no?
Yo, I got one cousin out there, man. Everybody else left. Everybody else went to Yonkers or Jersey, Arizona, Pennsylvania, died, Me and my cousin are the last of the Mohegans out here.
Nice. Yeah. You guys are definitely leaving your mark.
Yeah.
What was it like out there on Long Island?
I imagine it's similar to where it was in Spring Valley where you grew up, man. Mm-hmm. It was a little, it was a little trashy, It was kind of like a little scumbag town I grew up in Long Island. But we had a yard and everything, and I always had everything I needed, so I'm not saying that. It's my parents just thought, like, I'm coming up, we're talking about the time of like white flight and all of this stuff. And, my pop grew up in, both of my parents grew up in single parent households. With the father wasn't there. And, so my pop, when I was coming along and when he started really getting his shit together, cause he had his own thing going on.
Sure. With
the partying and all of that stuff and the mayhem and chaos. When he got his shit together, he decided, like, I'm going to do what my father never did. And he pictured, a house with a yard and a little 4-foot above ground pool. And, so in his brain, that's what he was giving me that. And, so that was great. But on the other hand, I think we might have been better off if they would have stayed in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Do you know what the thing is do you know how old your dad was when he had you?
Younger than I was when I had my kid, for sure. I think he was 27.
Yeah.
And then, like, about 5 years later is when he, not to talk about his life or whatever, but he would. 5 years later, he started putting down, like, the drinking and all of that shit. When I was about 5, we were out there already.
Yeah. So, like, the reason why I ask that, because I think about, in my mind, whatever, I had difficult parents, according to me, right? But, bro, like, our parents are from the same generation where like in your mid 20s already, you're like fucking packing it in. You're like, oh, this is my wife. We're gonna move. This is our piece of land, and like all of that pressure of like, bro, like I like grow up very slowly in those terms compared to I can't even imagine being like that. Like my dad,
but a house was 40,000 back then,
right?
And you know, I don't know. He was probably making like 60 back there with the union. So even if it's less, say it was like 50 or 40, still you could make in a year with a house cost then.
Right.
You know? And we can't even
that doesn't
forget
exist.
about it, bro.
That doesn't exist. I honestly like I could never I'm just like when I look at my dad, I'm like, dude, my dad was 25 years old, my mom was almost 30. They got married. They lived on the Grand Concourse in the Bronx. Allegedly, in the 70s, the concourse was like fucking nice, you know, and like they had sunken living rooms and all that stuff. And then they had the same dream of like, oh, we're gonna go out to the country, American dream, like we're gonna have a yard, a freaking station wagon, eventually get a swimming pool, whatever. And then, here I come. And, after a while, I become like non-compliant.
Yeah.
So as you were growing up and then like, you're going around the neighborhood, you're being a regular kid and it's a different time. And like times were a lot, I wouldn't say realer, but they were realer and they were rougher back then. You had to find your own fun where it wasn't in your hand, like on a computer or or whatever. So it was easier to get in trouble, So as you were going to school and whatever, what kind of kid were you? Were you like, because I know you're an incredible artist and super creative guy now, but were you always like that or is that something that evolved?
I was always like, I always drew and I always like was more geared to like sit quietly and draw something than I was to like jump in and be extroverted with like a group of people or something like that, Mm-hmm.
Did your dad sign you up for like Little League or anything?
Yeah,
and
I hated it. I
Yeah.
hated it. It was a lot of pressure, man. And, the coaches' kids were always the best, right? And they would always get more opportunities to be the best. Bukowski one time in his ham on rye or ham and rye said like, yo, there's some guys just don't get, I'm not saying this was me. I'm just saying about organized sports in general and stuff. They just don't get a chance because nobody ever passed them the ball, so they never get better. And then they only pass the guys that was already good the ball, and those guys get better, and the guys that wasn't good don't get any better, And that's just, I think he was more so talking about life. But I see that. Looking back on like organized sports, that really wasn't my thing.
Yeah. So when did you veer away from that, and what did you do?
I think I played in like first grade, and I think I played in like fourth. I found skateboarding.
Right.
Not that I was like good at that shit. I wasn't. I never got good at skateboarding. I did it for a long time. I never got good, but I liked it because it wasn't organized, it wasn't supervised, and that's when I started hanging out, like, unsupervised.
Right.
And through skateboarding, I remember when I was like in sixth grade or something, about 11 years old, I was skateboarding out in Long Island. I think we were in like Massapequa or something, and my board went flying into the street, and there was like these older kids there. This older kid was like skating by, swooped up my board right before it got hit by a car, and then busted out like a juicy marker and like caught a tag, like within like, it seemed like it was in like one swoop, right?
Guy's like a stunt man.
And I'm like, yo, that's the coolest shit I ever seen. And I don't know how much longer I skateboarded after that. Once I started getting into graffiti,
right?
That was it for me. I skateboarding kind of just fell off, and graffiti was it for me.
How did you fall into that, or how did you find that?
That kid, but also I remember when I was young, or this isn't a story I remember necessarily. I remember it because I was told this story
Right.
by my mother. She said we were going to my grandmother's on the Belt Parkway, and I looked out the window, and like shit was covered back then.
Yeah.
Everything was covered, layers upon layers, and like going through the underpasses, and be like, Ma, what is that? And she'd be like, it's graffiti. I'm like, they're allowed to do that? And she's like, no. And she said my eyes got like big and was like, how did they get away with it?
Oh, wow.
And and I'm talking, I was like 4 years old at that
The
point.
excitement.
Fucking, it was just meant to be, you know. Same thing, we would pass like a train yard, and I didn't even connect trains with graffiti, but there was just something like a gravitational pull to that. We would pass through like downtown Brooklyn going into Manhattan, and you could just see it from like the highway or whatever, or from the bridge, like burnt out buildings, abandoned buildings and stuff like that. And you could see like there'd be like a hole in a wall, a window with no window pane or window, and just darkness behind it. And you're like, yo, what's in there? You know, like those things became like real alluring to me at an early age. So they're trying to take me away from that shit, and I'm trying to go into it. You know, I was just naturally pulled to it. I remember one time on Def Comedy Jam, they gave a shout out to MC Search, and they said, yo, here we all over here trying to get out of the ghetto, and this brother right here is trying to get into the ghetto.
That's funny.
You know, this is years and years, and I still remember that because I must have identified with it on some level, obviously.
So what was your first night you remember going out bombing?
I remember downstairs in the basement, I remember taking a can of brown paint. I think it was like Red Devil, the way I remember it. It was Red Devil spray paint, and a skinny cap, just a stock cap that was on it already. I didn't know about fat caps in that time. And yeah, I remember painting under the elevated Long Island Railroad tracks they have giant columns, and hitting a bunch of those columns, and then like being proud when I walked past it on the way to like junior high. So I guess I was already in junior high. I think I was in like 7th grade.
You went out by yourself or you had a crew?
No, I think so. I think I went by myself. I don't think at that point I knew anybody that would have went with me, you know? And then I just started meeting people through other people that did that shit, you know?
Right.
Because same thing with drinking, man. Like, I'd bust the bottle out. I stole a bottle. At first, I remember one time I stole a beer, and I snuck it into the basement, and then I passed it to the kid, and the kid fucking dropped it. I think he dropped it on purpose, you know, and then the shit exploded all over the place, and I told my parents, oh, the cat knocked it over, and the shit exploded. And then, like, another group of friends, I snuck a bottle out to this place, the Dirt Hills, and they were scared to drink it, you know? Wow. So when I did find friends that were, like, down to do that, those became my friends. Everybody else just disappeared. And the same thing with like the graffiti kids or whatever. Those became my friends.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty brave if you think about it. For a young kid to just, like, I would sneak out of my house to go get drunk or do whatever. But I always had like an accomplice.
Yeah.
I was never going out there dolo. I'd be
Yeah.
like, there's a kid who lived up the street. I'm like, bro, I'll meet you. We'll drink this gin at 1 a.m. We'll throw apples at cars.
Yeah,
yeah. You know what I'm saying? But like, so eventually you find your, you find your crew.
Yeah, your people.
Yeah, yeah. So what was that like? Junior high school? Now, you find a cluster of kids that are similar to you in those ways.
In that way, but in a lot of ways we weren't similar. You know what I mean? I was from like a 2-parent household. At this point, my pops is already sober. My mother was just a functioning human being that didn't have like any addiction problems. I mean,
good for her.
Yeah, she didn't need that shit. But my friends came from like a lot of like broken homes and major substance abuse and shit like that. So they were just a little different, you know, like
right.
They kind of had this killer instinct to them. Naturally, where like if say we were gonna go like jump somebody or something, And I'd be like, yo, but what do you want to jump that kid for? Like, they didn't ask no questions. They fell right in line with, like, gang mentality, you know?
Right.
And I was always, like, I wasn't a nice guy, but just if something seemed really fucked up or too crazy, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know about that. And I've done plenty of fucked up and crazy things in my life. So that just tells you how these kids, I mean, a lot of them are no longer alive. A lot of them did a lot of serious time and stuff like that. And I think that the main difference is why I did the same exact shit they were doing and why I'm here with you, sitting here, sitting pretty. And you know, these folks are not, is because of my parents. Because you know, the love that my parents had for me, and they were able to actually be parents to me. Like, some of these kids, their mom would drive them to go rob shit. Yeah. Some kids' moms were selling drugs. You know what I mean? Like, and I would be like, what the fuck? Well, I gotta have these parents. Why can't I have some cool parents that sell drugs and drive me at 3 a.m. to go break into trucks and steal shit out of trucks? You know? I thought my parents were really holding me back by, like, giving me any kind of curfew at all and not letting me go out all hours of the night to do graffiti and steal shit. You know, they were a real drag, a real thorn in my side. But they're the reason I'm still here.
Thinking about what you said before about the opportunities, right? Like what that guy said. Like, some kids, they didn't have the opportunity. Like, there's nothing that you did. You're a sperm and an egg to pick your parents.
Right.
Like, it's
luck.
You know what I'm saying? It's just luck, and you happen to have two of them, you know?
Right.
And one of them happens to be, have their act together, and the other one ends up getting sober and then puts their act together.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. So I'm saying is that, like, you know, almost like it's tough to look at the other kids and be like, all right, did they really have a choice?
Right. No, they didn't.
You know,
at that point,
by the time they're even thinking, even society would have to intervene. You know what I'm saying? Take them out of, like, whatever. Society would have to give them the choice. Like, I have friends too that, like, bro, just like Jadakiss said, you know, take a bump and pass their mama the bill. I know fucking, I know kids that's
about that
so.
Too.
And even when I saw that, because I also came from a 2-parent home, like, I saw that and I was like, that's fucking crazy. Like, even though I've seen my mom fucking be drunk and all my family members be crazy, and I've had, you know, a lot of them that are very highly dysfunctional in those ways, and so was I. But I could never picture me taking a blast of Coke out of a $1 bill and then giving it to my mom in the kitchen table.
That was the norm around, and I just thought my parents was really no fun. You know, because, like, it seemed all of these kids' parents just, it was like that. Yeah.
So then what happens? You're in high school. You know, are you progressing or are you regressing?
I didn't even go. You know, honestly, there wasn't a year of high school where I didn't miss, like, at least, like, 3 months of the school year. One time I got put away when I was, like, in 9th grade. I would, like, get to school, and I didn't know I would have, like, crazy, like, anxiety. You know, we were in junior high, we were the big shit, and all of a sudden you go to high school, there's dudes that are like the size of grown men,
right?
And I didn't know most people, and then so instead of going into school, like, I just couldn't deal with the social anxiety. For some reason, it hit me at that age, at, like, the age 13. I would just go, like, get high on the corner with, like, actually fucking dangerous people in dangerous situations, people that were, like, too old for high school, coming by. And with, like, you know, dust, acid, all of that shit. And, you know, I chose that over confronting, like, any type of, like, social anxiety. I could see this with clarity now. Back then, I was just doing the path, what seemed to be my natural path, the path of least resistance.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I'm not fucking going in there. Boom.
Right, to ask a young person to make the right choice in that situation, you're asking a lot.
I wasn't trying to make the wrong choice.
Nobody's capable. Like, who is, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Who's
it was
capable?
Just, I wasn't trying to be bad. It's just I was doing what felt more comfortable to me. And then, but when people are like, oh shit, you're bad, because you always caught and you're bad, and they start giving you props for being bad, like you're like, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'm bad. You know, you're not like psychoanalyzing it. They're like, actually, I have anxiety. Yeah, I didn't know that shit. You know, so I got enough trouble in school with all kinds of shit, stealing, running away, all kinds of stuff like that. Cops to the house, often. And eventually I got put away for like 4 months in like a psych unit for kids, you know?
Right. Like an inpatient, like you ain't leaving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like one flew over the cuckoo's nest type shit, to where like they'd be like, yeah, you get out if this happens, and then like you like get all good behaviors, they would come and mark your behavior every so often, you know, say once an hour. And then if you got, they would make promises to you. Yeah, if, you know, you're good, you could get out of here when this happens, you know, on your charts or whatever. And then that would kind of happen, and it wouldn't. They'd be like, oh, well, we'll talk about it. Yo, so I'd wild the fuck out. Yeah. I would wild out. I got so many stories from in there. You know, and to be honest, I was relieved to be in a situation where the rules were really straightforward. You know, in a kind of institutionalized sort of way, I guess. I just fell into it very easily.
Yeah, but then that betrayal and disappointment when they don't.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I broke shit
when
up.
They don't own their side of the street.
One time I pushed the beds in front of the doors so they couldn't get in.
Attica.
And I'm jumping on the fucking. I'm doing remember Harukin?
Yeah.
I'm jumping off the beds, punching the ceiling tiles, busting all the ceiling tiles.
Wow. Busted
up my whole room till they could come in and tackle me and shoot you up with some tranquilizer. Yeah. So I did that for a while, and then, to be honest, I was not that quiet before I went in there. You know what I mean? Like, I had kind of broken out of my shell, and girls would be like, why you always got to make fun of me? Like, I was that dude, you know, I was like a ball breaker and all of that, and was not as shy with girls for a period of time. But when I came back from being put, you know, I was put in a psych unit, I had like such a shame behind that I was like, I came back a little just quieter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe some of it worked.
Nah, did nothing happen. No. Did nothing happen in there, bro. All that happened in there, I gained like 15 pounds, did a bunch of push-ups, had a little fucking psych unit girlfriend from the girls unit. I went to a couple of meetings in there, actually. I went to my first AA meeting that was like independent of like going with a family member to see them get their cake or something, was in there.
Wow.
And I would go in there because they were co-ed, and you could like sit next to your girl and like hold hands, and there was no guards or staff in there to tell you to break it up or nothing.
That's funny.
So it was worth it. And I remember some kid had graffiti in the story, right? So I was like, yo, he came there to speak, and I'm like, yo, let me get your number, you know. And he's thinking sponsorship. I'm thinking like, yo, we'll do some graffiti
we'll go bombing,
when we get out of here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get out of there. What happens next? You start to reassimilate?
First day, I'm smoking weed on the train tracks. We almost get hit by a train. I can feel the train on the back of my shirt. You know, right back at it, just making up for lost time.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was nothing to learn at that point. There was no lesson to be learned, you know? And honestly, my friends got worse. What happened when I was in there, actually, my friends got worse. There was 14-year-old kids. I come out, they're hooked on fucking heroin, and they're getting tattooed by a local junkie that tattoos, and would tattoo them for like, you know, I don't know, dope or dope money or whatever. 14-year-old tattooing 14-year-old kids, and I missed and then they start hanging out with like these like Long Island hardcore bands and stuff, like dark fucking characters, not like the fun little poppy hardcore.
No H2O.
No posi-core. No shade to nothing. I'm just saying the people they were hanging out with were really fucking dark, negative people.
Yeah, shout out H2O.
Yeah, they're cool, man.
They're all right.
They're cool. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't listen. I'm just saying they was chilling with fucked up people, man, and really they was already kind of, it was innocent when I left. Like, yeah, fish were like a little, once in a while, scuffles, scraps and graffiti and stealing, spray paint, going to like fucking doing heroin and like, stealing cars and shit like that.
Yeah,
and
the elevator was going down.
some of these people were like fighting grown men. You had like 14, 15, 16-year-old kids like fighting grown men and like fucking them up so bad that they went to jail for it. You know what I mean? This is how these kids were wild, man.
So what happened next?
What did happen next? I wasn't allowed back to my regular high school.
Right.
So I went to one alternative school. I went to I could, this is such a long, there's so many
peaks and
such
valleys.
a tightly weaved story. There's a lot. I went to a lot of different high schools.
Yeah.
I went to a lot of different high schools is what happened when I came back.
What happened after you graduated?
Well, in between there, I actually made it back in 12th grade. I made it back into the regular high school finally.
Right.
And when I was like 16, I was on probation for graffiti, and the probation officer said, well, you like art, you like graffiti, you like art. At this point, I used graffiti. I guess graffiti became my art.
Right.
I don't want to say it was a front because I loved doing it. It wasn't like I used it as a front to hide the fact that I liked art. It was just like finally something I was doing was socially acceptable,
right.
Around this peers. I didn't grow up in Manhattan where like people were really pushing art around me. You know what I mean? But so a probation officer, it sounds so after school story, but this is how it happened. A probation officer said, oh, you like art? Why don't you go to vocational school? He showed me a way to go to vocational school for graphic art, graphic design. And at this point, we weren't even on computers. They had the little apples with the screen in them, built in them. And most of the stuff we did like by hand with like drafting pens and all of that. So that actually kind of saved my ass. And I started seeing a reason why I get it why to go to school now. Because all of the shit they were talking about before didn't make sense. Why would I ever need to know this? Christopher Columbus, all of that shit, why I need to know it. But now I'm like, all right, well, I could take this and like turn it into something and maybe get a job one day. So I started going to like half-day vocational school, half-day, regular school. And at that time, I was going to a school called Washington Ave, where I was like one of 4 white kids in the school. And honestly, it was the best out of all the school experiences I had. It was the most enjoyable.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm grateful for those people that I went to school with, and for the love I was just shown from that community. It wasn't like so much like all the little nitpicky fucking white kid bullshit for like to be popular. You had to just have like you had to walk this very fine path of whatever. Who knows what the fuck? I would go home and be like, why people like that person? That person's an asshole. They're not that cool. They're not that tough. But everybody seemed to think. In that school where I was, you represented yourself. You know what I mean? Wherever you were, that's what you had.
Nice.
It was kind of like the last house on the block. It was a school. They all warned you keep acting up, you're going to end up in this school. And I think part of it was like almost like I saw it as a challenge. It made me a little like intrigued. Definitely made me intrigued. And then I ended up there. I like, as they say now, maybe I manifested it. And it ended up being one of the best experiences I had, man. as far as socially, you know. I learned how to fight a little better there. I learned how to stick up for myself. And, yeah, it was kind of like a training ground for, like, prison. I mean, kids would come to school on crutches. They got shot up over the weekend.
Whoa.
You know, yeah. First day there, I saw a kid trading bullets and clips and shit like that. I was able to finally sell. I had stolen all these cell phones out of cars. I wasn't like a career criminal or nothing. I was just a little punk
Yeah,
thief.
like a thief.
Yeah, opportunity shit, you know. I didn't know what to do with them. And I knew that people could clone them, but I went to the Coliseum. You know the Coliseum in Jamaica? I went there one time with this other fucking white kid, and he was a little older, and they probably just thought he was a cop, and I was like with him. And they were like, no, we don't do that here. So I had no use for these cell phones. First day on the bus, these guys are trading this and that. It was like a fucking open air bazaar.
Like a flea market.
Yeah, on a little short bus. And I was like, yo, you got any use for cell phones? And I think I sold them each like $50 a pop, which is not bad back then.
Not at all.
You know? So yeah, I don't know. It was a great experience for me. It was a great experience. And I found a lot of kinship there more than I did around my so-called own people, my so-called own kind.
Yeah.
I do feel that important to say.
No,
you know?
it is important. You know, people are people.
And I'm grateful for the love that I was shown, you know?
Yeah. So what happens after high school? You went to college?
Yeah, so because of this vocational shit, college is all of a sudden on the table. And I think I was in some like group therapy shit with other kids, and I think there was probably some, I remember this. I don't remember exactly where it was. There was like some cute chick in there, said she was going to go to FIT. And I was like, Fashion Institute of Technology. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to FIT. I don't even remember the girl, bro, but I just remember this is how it happened, which happened to be a SUNY school, maybe a CUNY school even, state, city, university. And I was able to get into there. And, yeah, man, I got kicked out the dorms after my first semester because the same. We grew up in, like, the 80s watching Animal House, and then you go to college and you do that shit, and then you get kicked out.
Right. And it's in New York City.
Yeah, I thought you're supposed to throw furniture out the fucking windows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember drinking 40s in my room, and it's supposed to be a dry campus, whatever that means, and I had like a bottle next to my window, and there was some people making noise outside, and I'm on the 4th floor in the front of the building, and I'm like, yo, shut the fuck up. And they're like, fuck you, and I'd fucking launch a 40 out my window without looking, you know? And that's really the way, that was not even a crazy thing for me to do. That was a natural, like, who the fuck doesn't do that? Everybody does that. What do you mean? But apparently not.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
So did you finish? How did it go?
I finished, yeah. My dumb ass fucked up a fucking easy fucking thing. I lived in the dorms, fucking pretty much rent-free, in a school that's mostly girls. I team up with the one girl that fucking hated every other girl, and every other girl hated her, and that becomes my girlfriend.
Nice.
I get my ass kicked out the fucking dorms because of some dumb shit involving her and her drama. And then I'm in fucking Long Island commuting to this school where I could have just been living in the city, living it up, man. But who knows? Maybe I would have got myself killed if I was in the fucking city still at that point. You know, I was like fucking sniffing fucking jars of K and all kinds of stuff was going on. I was still young in my shit, you know. I was still at the beginning of I was still blossoming into my fucking alcoholism and my drug shit and my crime shit. And
yeah. When did that really start taking off?
Around then, I mean, it's happening the whole time, but I look back then and I'm like, yeah, you were still like really wet behind the ears. Then I don't know, man. It progressed, you know. It just progressed and progressed. I can't really see where the line was. Just when it stopped being cute. I guess when it stopped being cute.
Yeah.
When it stopped being cute, and it never was cute, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, you know, for me, there's always this transition where people are like, they see you do something and they're like, wow. They're like enamored.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden one day you do something similar and they're like, ugh.
At their house. Yeah,
Yeah.
when they invited you to their house and you're wrestling around with your fucking best friend, they don't realize you guys just fight each other everywhere you go, and your best friend's like stabbing you in the head with a spoon, and they're trying to watch a movie at a party with like only like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're like, wow, what did I invite into my house?
I mean, eventually people didn't want me around.
Yeah.
And I started to, and that was okay.
I
But
mean, I found people that wanted that around. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then we prided ourselves on, like, you know, you would talk to the guy and be like, ha, you have no idea what you fucking did yesterday. Oh, my God, you were on one, you know?
So what'd you do after college?
What did I do after college? I was able to, like, I guess I fucking did a decent job at the Double Life. I was able to, I landed a job. I interned at a bunch of places. I interned one place that did some, like, designs for, like, Capone and Noriega and Wu-Tang and shit. Interned there for a little bit. But they didn't, I don't think they paid. They just gave, like, a stipend for lunch and all of that shit.
Yeah, per
Which
diem,
is cool.
right? Is that
yeah,
what it's called?
something like that. It was cool. Good experience. And then I interned at a place, and I ended up making a job out of it. They gave me a business card that said creative director. That shit went to my head. I didn't do anything. I searched on Napster for MP3s, and, like, I did some design shit. The first day, this is my shit, man. The first day I was there, the first afternoon as an intern, I made, like, the logo for the company. I made them a new logo. Bang. That was going to be on all their computer software. They did, like, computer software for the modeling industry. And then after that, I thought I could kind of just coast, you know?
After that, you were Puff Daddy.
Yeah, after that,
Chilling.
you know, yeah, I was just trying to get my business card and give it to girls in the club. Yo, the audacity, bro. Girls would call the front desk asking for me, and the what's it called? The secretary at the time would be like, "You got another call for you." Like, she was over that shit.
Yeah.
But I was trying, to.
You were a young
21-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid, man. And then the shit started clashing. The two worlds started colliding. Like, I'd go out to a company function at, like, dinner and a bar. These people were from, a couple of the people in the company, half of the owners of the company were from Europe. So they would go to, like, a dinner with, what is that shit called? The wine with the fruit in it, sangria. With that, and then that would just open the fucking door for me, and I'd get fucked up getting a fight at a company party. There's, like, multiple times I got in, like, fights at company parties, and the worst thing was I would come in and think it's, oh man, that's it, I'm done, and they'd be like, hey, there he is.
You gotta add a boy.
Yeah, like, they were living vicariously through me, but I was, like, destroying my fucking life at the time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's pretty, it's such a crazy thing when that happens, when, like, I think about it now, and I'm just like, bro, if I would kill somebody if they worked for me and we were at a company function and they put their hands on somebody else, bro, that would be like your last day.
Yeah, I thought that would happen.
Right.
I thought that would happen.
Yeah, but then eventually it gets worse, right?
Well, it's worse that it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Because if I remember the last time I got arrested drinking, because I've been arrested not drinking before. I've been arrested while sober before. That's a different kind of situation. But the last time I got arrested intoxicated on a really wild fucking night, where there was a lot of chaos and I racked up a lot of charges one night, I was very relieved. I, for a while, was like, when the fuck is somebody going to stop me? Like, I would go in and out of the fucking tombs like every other weekend, and then,
What's your relationship like with your parents when this is going on? Because your dad's like a sober man.
Man, I couldn't really be around them. I loved them and they loved me, but I didn't want to hear that shit. I've been hearing about,
Recovery and all
yeah,
that. Yeah.
when are you gonna stop the drinking? And
I remember you used to say that all the time. You're like, bro, what do you mean the drinking?
yeah, he
like,
made it a noun. It's
Yeah.
a verb. He made it a noun. Mine was so great that he made it a noun, and I didn't want
It's
to.
got to be pretty impressive for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You didn't want to hear it, and you couldn't hear it.
no, there was no. It was just if I would have understood. He told me that people were telling me there's like an other way to live,
Right.
but I just didn't see how that was possible.
Yeah.
Because it's not like at this point it's no longer, oh yeah, it's a party, it's how I have fun. Some of it was that, but it's like, what else would I do? What do you mean?
Yeah,
don't,
this
what
is
do you
my
mean
life.
Don't drink. What
This
the
is my
fuck
life.
do you do?
Yeah. I remember I had a meeting with these guys. Yeah. And I was, and they were like, listen, Will, and I was like, probably around the same year, I was like maybe 21 or something. And I was like knee deep in all of my addictions, heroin, everything, whatever's on the table. And they were like, dude, we will send you wherever you need to go to get whatever help we'll pay for it. We don't even tell anybody. Like, this is the people who own the firm that I was working at. And I was making them a lot of money. And I was on the verge of starting to make money. And I was like, nah, I got it. Meanwhile, like, these are people who are like, my parents, like, they wouldn't even know that kind of thing existed. And these are people who are like, dude, we'll fucking help you. And I was like, there was no way I could ever like, no, what do you mean? I'm okay. Like, You're walking around here in the freaking heroin haze. And people look up to you because you have a little bit of status in this place and you're pretty good at what you do. And this is how you behave. And it's like you say, it's not cute anymore.
Yeah.
It's not cute anymore.
Yeah.
So when did the end come, when you finally tapped out for the first time?
For the first time, exactly. There's been a few times I've tapped out. I think the end of 1999 was the first time. Yeah, I mean, there's audio recordings of that arrest. I was like running down the block, clotheslining people and all of this shit. I had jumped on tables inside of some venue, like people are eating. I jumped off the stage, ran across people's town. I'm just trying to tell a good story here. I understand it's dumb shit. I'm not trying to brag on it. I understand it's completely fucking retarded. But we are on a podcast, so I figure the more entertaining the story, the better, right?
But it's also, it really happened.
No, of course it really happened. But I'm like over myself in these stories, to be honest. But, if I don't tell them, it's not, I'm taking away from what actually fucking happened. So, yeah, one of my last arrests that involved, like, punching random people on one block in the Lower East Side and throwing shot glasses. And I didn't even see the movie Trainspotting to see the guys taking shots, fucking hand grenade and shot glasses on the dance floor.
Wow.
I did that on my own. I did that with without any outside influence. And then I got like fucking... Police came on both sides of the block and tackled me, and I tried to fight them. I Muay Thai kicked a couple before I was like piled on like a cartoon. And for some reason, that time was different, and it was far from the first time anything like that happened. But it was the first time I was like, damn, I don't want to live like this anymore. One of the things was I was always able to get to work, regardless. I made myself do that. No matter how fucking hungover or whatever, I would drag my ass to work. And when you're in a holding cell, you can't drag yourself to work. And I thought, like, all right, I'll be out tomorrow. Then I wasn't out tomorrow. All right, I'll probably be out. Then I called them after the first day. I realized I wasn't going to make it. And I started realizing without doing the 12 steps or knowing exactly what they are, I started doing them naturally. I think, you know, you'll naturally go through these if it gets bad enough where I was like, yo, my life is unmanageable. You know, I'm powerless. My life is unmanageable. I'm literally powerless. I can't go shower right now. I'd like to shower and change my clothes. I can't do that.
Your freedom is gone.
Can't make a peanut. Just can't go. It's been deemed that I can't be left alone to make a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, there was just something different about it where I ended up just saying a prayer where I was like, and I never prayed, maybe God get me out of this, but I said, yo, God, I'm done. Keep me here. I was relieved to be finally caught. I had all kinds of warrants and shit like this. Always had, you know, court cases. From the age 16 to fucking 22, which is a little bit after I got sober, but I had some of them lingering still. I had open court cases, different ones, many of them, you know, but something was different about this time, you know. I was relieved that it was fucking over. It's over. I give up. It's over. So yeah, I said, I don't want to, just, no matter, you want to keep me here as long as you can, I don't want to live like this anymore, you know.
Yeah, when that moment of grace comes, you never even know until you're there. Like, I guess this is it.
And you don't try to wiggle. I think for me at least, and I think if you're really serious, you're no longer trying to wiggle out of the consequences. You're like, fuck it. I will take the fucking consequences.
I'll take whatever. Yeah.
Whatever, but I ain't doing this no more. You know, and that's how it was for me at that point. And that gave me my first taste of, you know, sobriety and all of that.
Yeah, so then you turn a corner inside yourself and you're like, okay, I'm out of freaking ideas.
Yeah, exactly. I was out of ideas.
I'm out of ideas, and I guess this is where I'm going to go. This is going to be my life. And you start to get sober.
Yeah, and it was not fun. It did suck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 20, 21 years old.
A little bit closer to the mic.
I'm 20, 21 years old at this time, and now I'm in rooms full of, like, 50-year-old fucking dudes with, like, fat sausage fingers, and they're, you know.
And they're talking about God?
You're going to do this, and you're going to, because now yeah, I didn't want to hear any of that shit, bro. I just wanted to stop getting arrested.
Right.
Like,
you wanted the mayhem to stop, but you were like, oh, I don't know about
this. How am I
ever
going to have fun again, man? How am I ever? So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to have fun sober. You know what I mean? Have fun without alcohol. And I think that was my main concern. And I did learn how to do that.
As a young person, sure.
Yeah. I did learn how to do that, and it is valuable. I guess I got more into the fellowship part of things at that age. Not as much the spiritual part of things. I ventured into the steps or whatever, but I didn't really understand them. You know what I mean? It didn't make sense to me that I had to change, because everything I thought I just had to stop drinking.
Well, also,
I didn't realize I had to really change.
Also, as a young person, like, your world now is huge. And you're somebody I admire on many levels. Mostly I admire your evolution because I've known you for so long. But at 21, 22, 23, your world is a fucking peanut. Yeah. It's so small.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do but don't drink, try and have some fun, and maybe make a few bucks to pay a bill.
There was nothing cool about helping another person.
Right. It doesn't even dawn on you that
no.
So it's like not abnormal. So for me, like, when I hear... Like, sometimes I hear, like, young kids, right? And they'll be talking about recovery. Like, kids that are 21, 22, 25. And I'm like, oh, your recovery has not even really been tested yet.
Right.
At that age, where you're just like, well, now that you're sober, what happens when you get fired from your first job sober? Right. Or you can't pay your bills? Or your first girlfriend cheats on you, or you ruin more relationships. All of the mayhem continues without drinking. Like,
right.
You know,
because it's life.
Because you're
21 years old, and that's going to happen to you. You're going to probably break when you 21 years old, you're probably not going to be with the person you're going to be with the rest of your life.
Even though you may feel like that in the moment. This is the one.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I've had a fat
I've
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even know. And it's so funny because then, so as you're evolving, right, the early parts of your recovery, and then you went out, I remember you said you went out to Arizona, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
Dope, Dad.
Just getting out of the situation
cool,
here,
It was very cool to get out of there, get out of here. I needed to. I just needed to put some space in between me and everything that just happened. Like the court cases were finally over.
Yeah.
And I had, that job that didn't fire me for all of the crazy shit I did fired me when I was like 3 months sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my boss was like my drinking buddy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would go out with this guy, you know, this fucking, I guess he was like 15 years older. And like, you know, he loved drinking with me.
Sure.
He'd be like, yeah, we were only like one step into the bar and he managed to get in a fight already. And like, I got my boss punched in the head one time just for being with me. And I thought I'm going to get in trouble. He thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I lost that job. And all I asked them, I said, well, am I going to get unemployment? They're like, yeah. And they were all like, they felt bad. You know, a quarter of the company got laid off that day. It was around.
Yeah, so it just wasn't you.
Yeah, it wasn't just me, but it was just funny that like didn't get fired the whole time I should have got fired, and then I'm finally trying. But yeah. Anyway, I left. I collected New York unemployment in Arizona, and you know I got what I was paying for a freaking studio apartment in Bensonhurst. I had a 2-bedroom with a pool and a gym and a balcony and all of this stuff, man.
It's like an adult life.
Yeah, but it was like contrived. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, cool. And now I got a car, and now I got a cute little girl. You know, like off the plane. I had a girlfriend like off the plane. Got a little car and all of this shit. Got an apartment, and you know,
it's funny because when
I was checking the boxes.
Yeah,
I was checking the boxes.
You were like playing. You were like playing house.
Yeah,
like,
because I was like, all right, I'm sober now. I guess
this is what I'm supposed to do.
Guess I can't make music anymore. I don't know. I was like, I guess I can't make art anymore. I can't do graffiti anymore. I'll just do what normal people do.
Right.
Except I'm not a fucking normal person. Even by the standards of it in the rooms, I'm not. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not somebody who. A girlfriend and a car and a house and all of that is really gonna. I got that, and I'm so glad that I did that to see like that doesn't quite cut it for me. There was nothing wrong with that car, that house, that girl, or anything, but that didn't satisfy me. I kind of wanted to fucking die.
Right, because here's the thing: when we're talking about again your evolution, right? It says in the big book, right? What will become of me? I'll look like the hole in the donut, right? Yeah. Even though you were checking off boxes, like, bro, you were like a fucking citizen.
Yeah.
Like a citizen.
Yeah, I felt like I was in, shouts to my man, CH, Charlie Hustle.
I remember that kid.
Yeah, it's my boy. I felt like I was in witness protection. I met him out there. Yeah, man, that's one of the best things that happened from me being out there. That's still my brother to this day. Yeah, man, we bumped into each other in Arizona. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing out here, man? Yeah. You know, it was like bumping into like Joe Pesci in witness protection. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's what it felt like out there.
Yeah, but none of that stuff was gratifying. That spiritual, you weren't happy.
I was learning how to walk, man. I was just learning how to walk. I was still a baby. You know, I was learning how to walk.
So what happens next?
The chick leaves, the car gets repoed, all without drinking. Chick leaves, car gets repoed, the house burned down, and I'm wilding. After the chick left, I'm wilding. I'm like running around crazy, single in Arizona, just doing a lot of wreckage, you know, a lot of chaos without drinking.
Right.
Not really going to meetings because like. Me and her used to go together, so now I'm going to less. I'm not going to this one because she might be. And, you know, it was a very young scene that I was involved with that I also wanted it that way. It became more of a social thing for me than a spiritual thing. And it actually maybe never became a spiritual thing for me.
I think that's all part of the path. Like
yeah,
that would never
exactly. I wouldn't.
You would never be here without
stumbling.
Yeah, without knowing that doesn't work for you, because that may work for some people.
Figuring out shit that didn't work for me. Figuring out quitting art to realize I need to fucking do art.
Yeah.
So now there's not a doubt in my mind. It's great. I already tried quitting.
Yeah.
And it's like very unnatural, and just something's missing, and just that shit is that feeds my soul. You know, that's just who I am. That's what I do.
From when you were a kid by yourself drawing.
4 years old. It's maybe
perfect.
Younger.
So then you come back to New York?
Come back to New York. I was involved with this group of friends that were making rap music. And when I left, we were just making songs on like a 4-track recorder. Over the time I left, they started doing shows and shit like that. I didn't think nobody would want to ever see us do a show. And they're opening for groups like the Far Side, Ghostface, a couple other things. And I'm like, man, I'm about to come back, and I want to do this music shit now that I don't have the girl, I don't have the house. So I came back.
Yeah, Sober Geographic.
Yeah, man.
It's perfect.
It was great. It was great. A spot opened up in a loft that looked actually much like this fucking room we're in today. There's like 5 of us living in this loft.
I think that's when I met you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you had your little whole bedroom.
Yeah, it was like a fucking cave.
It was perfect.
There was no windows. Mattress on the floor in the beginning, man. And, yeah. So I was sober for a little while. Met another chick. She was cool. Ended up not working out. And she kind of would go hard with the drinking. And just one night I got out of a show. We did a show downtown on the Bowery. And things weren't going so hot with her. And
the stage was set.
So I think, and I was like listening to all of this fucking like music that like glorified drinking and shit like that. And I was like, I think I need a beer. And I went into like to the right of the venue where I got out of. If you're facing the venue, to the right was like this fucking bar with all these like young, cute kids and shit, you know, like college kids and fucking fancy, pretty people. To the left, there was like a old man Irish bar. I went to the left.
Always.
And I copped a drink. And, I'm so self-centered. And I thought the world revolved on my fucking not drinking, right? So I take a sip of the drink, this beer, and I think, wow, the floor didn't open up. I didn't get sucked into the earth. No fucking AA SWAT team flew through the fucking windows, like repelled through the windows. And
Justin,
yeah.
No!
And
like, none of that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm all right. I guess this is fine. And then it was quickly, within the 3rd day, I'm like, I broke every rule I had laid out for myself.
Yeah.
And what's it called? I broke every rule I laid out for myself, and I'm drinking in a laundromat during the day.
Yeah. While
So
you're doing your laundry. I remember that. You called me. You're like, bro.
Yeah, I called
I've
you.
been out for a couple of days. I'm like, you okay? He was like, yo, it ain't happening. I'm sitting there. You told me, you're like, I'm sitting on the laundry machine drinking. It was like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
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 Nothing glorious.
Yeah, so like that time it wasn't like any war stories or nothing like that. It was just like, yo, it's kind of fucking beat, you know?
Meanwhile, you're living a life of like, you know, in a creative way, bro. You're somebody.
Yeah, but I put I don't know, man. I put like romantic relationships in front of everything at that point. And when that pink cloud of that thing was over,
right,
or that didn't go the way I wanted it to go or whatever, you know, I got drunk.
Yeah. You had no defense.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's still at that point, it didn't really kick in, like, it didn't sink into my head what it is we're actually doing.
Right.
Like, I didn't realize, like, oh, we're fucking changing. Like, I had no desire to change my attitude. Yeah. And the people I would meet in the rooms and outside of the rooms were people with as bad or worse attitudes than me. Those are the people I really gravitated toward, you know?
But you're also a young man. I mean, I remember you calling me and telling me one time, and I don't know the guy's name, so I can't even say it so he won't be mad. But I remember you were just like, yo, bro, they were making noise, and I beat the fuck out of my roommate.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, I kept telling him he didn't want to shut. Like that was the answer to them not wanting to be quiet. And that's where your brain
they're
was.
going to tell me that that's not all right.
Right.
And I didn't know there was another way. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do the not drinking part of this, but everything else I'm going to do my way.
Right.
And it wasn't even my way. It was the way of every person I ever looked up to, every rapper, every neighborhood guy.
Right.
You know, every fucking Goodfellas, Scarface, all of the fucking most, you know.
Listen, because
I just had a very fucking childish adolescent idea of what a man was. Really is what the fucking takeaway of everything I've said should be. I had a very childish adolescent idea of what a man was. And I'm living in a world where maybe at one point in time, in one place, that was valuable. The world around New York was changing around that time.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting yuppier. It's getting fucking cornier. It's getting softer.
It's getting better.
And I have, but I have this mentality, and it just wasn't really working.
Well, the thing is also that, like, those types of, because I suffer with the same, you know, thing, where, like, those types of things, it's like when you're a young person, young adolescents in your teenage years, early 20s, like, you know, it's only like, and you're out there like a maniac. It's just survival.
You're doing what you think you're supposed. Yeah, survival in the way that you're doing what you think it is you're supposed to be doing.
Right, because
I thought I was supposed to react like that. I didn't think, oh, I'm being fucking crazy. Like, first of all, I thought everybody was crazy.
Right.
So I thought you had to be crazy.
Right, and that's the thing. So, and then like, you know, I was talking with this guy that I met today. That hopefully he'll come to this meeting tomorrow. But he was also around the hardcore scene too, and we were laughing about how. And whoever listens to this, I'm sorry if you get offended, but I love you all, you sickos. But like how peanut brain, all of that stuff, a lot of that stuff was where like, you know, you come to these shows, it's all about brotherhood, and every song is, you stab me in my back, you ain't my fucking friend. And I'm like...
They were written by like 16 to 18, 19-year-old kids.
Right, but if that's your fishbowl...
That's your theme music.
Right, and then the guy's making too much noise...
Yeah.
This is how it goes. Yeah. Like, you know, so like, and I remember that.
On every level.
Right.
Every type of person I saw, whether it was Italian Guidos, who had nothing to do with the fucking hardcore scene.
At all.
Or the hardcore kids, and I mean the New York hardcore guys. You know what I mean? I don't mean like wherever the fuck else. I mean how those people handled shit, the way the hood handled shit. They are three very different groups of people that all handled shit in a similar way.
Right.
And I just thought, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
This is what you do.
So you stayed out for how long that time?
Which time were we on? 4 days.
4 days, yeah, and you came back.
4 days, came back.
Yeah.
I had like 4.5 years, and then I didn't. Yeah. Just like that.
What do you think changed
between then and now? Because I went out like fucking.
No, I remember you would get like a few years,
like 5 years, and then go out.
Yeah.
And that's worth talking about. I'm not going to get into all the fucking. And if this shit's too long, I don't care.
It's
edit
not
some of it out. I don't give a fuck.
No, I think that's important.
Keep the good shit. You know, it takes a minute to warm up. So some of that shit is throwaway. It doesn't even matter. It takes about, I think, in my life experience, I think it takes about 5 years to put a life together, to build a life. And I'd build a life, and I'd be like, this is a fucking life? Or I'd want more. You know what I mean? I want more. I'd be like, yo, maybe if I did some drugs, I would write better. You know what I mean? Or maybe that's what's stopping me. Like, I would chase like success, like creative success, also to the gates of insanity. The way that people chase like their drinking
obsessive
into the gates of insanity. To be like, yo, I'm gonna try every fucking thing. And when I couldn't get it, I would just think maybe, sometimes I would even blame the fact that I was sober. That's what's holding me back. I need to do some drugs. And yeah, that never helped. It never helped.
Right.
Never helped.
There's a very good thing that I learned from this guy. I always give him a shout out. Alex Alahalde is the best. And he used to say, and I carry this to this day, he used to be like, bro, we're very good. We climb the mountain and we plant dynamite all the way up. As soon as you get to the top, that's what we fucking do. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with drinking. Drinking just may be the one tool that can do that, but you can do it any other way.
You think you're at the top.
Yeah, you're not.
These fucking people, our fucking ideas of the top is very, the humblest, the most minuscule amount of success. I think, I can put my fucking...
I can put my feet up now.
Put my feet up. I'm chilling now, you know. Yeah. Getting one little movie that goes to Sundance on the strength of somebody else, and I'm like, I made it. I can pop pills now. You know, like, I'm good now. You other people need to go do these meetings and shit. Yeah. You fucking losers have time for this shit. I got things to do. Really, what am I doing?
Right.
What was I doing?
Yeah, but I think over time, just me watching that and whatever, just not being a fucking ball washer. But, like, I would never not be your fucking friend, no matter what. So I'm like, dude, this is just part of your surrendering. Yeah. Because each time you would take it like a little bit more seriously, then a little bit more seriously. Then you were like, dude, I remember you told me like the last time out, you were like, bro, I was anonymous in my fucking neighborhood because I was a sober man. I fucking did ham and cheese and blah, 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 blah. People knew not to fuck with me, and I did my thing. They were like, all right, that's crazy white boy across the street with the pit bulls. Then as soon as I started drinking, all the derelicts were like, hey, how you doing?
Now they're my peers. You know what I mean?
But instantaneously.
All these people I was like invisible to became, and a lot of them were invisible to me.
Right, because you were living a different life.
Became my peers instantly. Went in the liquor store, came out the liquor store. I'm on the corner rapping. I don't mean talking. I mean, we're rapping. We're freestyling on the corner instantly. First trip to the liquor store. Yeah. And yeah, it's just that fucking automatic. I go back, it becomes the 90s. I find everything I thought changed. I find the old New York, the old 90s instantly. And I know other people got stories like that too. Other people that I'm close with have had the same experience. Yeah. This is the first time, you know, I think I've been coming around like 8 years this time. And I've been like clean and sober for 8 years straight this time. And this is the first time I realized it fucking clicked in my head. Oh, I have to change. I have to change who I am. Some of us try to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely.
Nil means zero.
Fucking not at all. Means not at all, not even a little bit. You know what I mean? Nil. It even sounds like not even a little bit. Nil.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
And for some reason, they said that in almost every meeting I had ever been in, and I didn't hear it. And I thought, I could probably hang on to most of the shit that and just not drink. Yeah, nothing. I was miserable, and no wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, what happened for me was that I went through. It was also because we're like the same age. Yeah. So I went through a similar growing up process emotionally and mentally. The only thing that I did 100% successfully was not drink, but I've done, all the other things: failed relationships, failed jobs, fucking bad with money, fucking super controlling, super jealous, like bottoming out on all these emotional things until finally I really surrender to like, okay, this is the easier, softer way. And there are people, even throughout all of those bottoms, and with you too, who still loved you, and life was giving you opportunities. You know what I'm saying? To it wasn't like life wasn't turning its back on you.
Right.
It's like you were just like hitting the pause button for a little while, and then you come back and like, all right, so you weren't body slamming your none of your bosses are getting punched in their fucking head.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? And which is, which is really good. Because like part of you was also like, I'm not finished, apparently.
Right.
But then
I just
eventually you were
I
like.
had ideas. I still had ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, and I think it's beautiful.
And now
it's a beautiful thing.
I don't have ideas anymore. I'm all out of ideas as far as other ways.
Yeah.
And I'm relieved.
So that final one when you were just like, okay, that's it. Now I'm willing to do really whatever it takes.
Whatever you ask me to do, I'm going to do it. Unless you're one of those weirdo nutsos. There's some of them in every group.
Right.
Not listening to them. But I mean, a sane, sound person, I'm willing to take the advice. I'll do anything in the book that it's said to do. Willing and have done it.
Right. What part of changes in your lifestyle have you made in the last 8 years? About how you look at life?
Well, if something's happening, I probably have that I don't like. I probably at some point in time have done something to feed that course of events.
Right. Accountability.
To look at myself and see where's my part in this, and I do have a part in almost everything. That I can't just act the way that I used to act, because eventually what would happen was I would be such an asshole so many different places to so many different people that I fucking hated myself, and I needed a drink again because I can't live with that type of guilt and shame. I can't live with that type of guilt and shame and not drink.
Right. That's the spiritual part of the disease.
Other people.
Yeah.
Can't hurt other people. Somebody's feelings get hurt, whatever, that happens. But I mean, actually really fucking hurt people, and fuck with their lives by being in. The only wrong thing they did was be involved with me, as significant other or a friend, and my life is fucking making their life much worse. That's something I can't handle without taking a drink, or I haven't been able to.
You'll have to drink.
Yeah,
I would
have to.
I would have to also.
And I don't do things like that anymore. I'm definitely not perfect. I definitely do stupid shit sometimes where I'm like, wow, that was just a reaction, and I'm kind of lucky that it didn't go a different way, But I don't. The biggest thing is I'm willing to change. Yeah. I'm willing to live a different way of life where I'm not in charge. You know what I mean? Where I realize, what's happening right now is you're trying to get your fucking hands and everything to make sure everything suits you, and maybe you need to get your fucking hands out because you're making a mess, and turn it over.
Yeah. I think what happened also for me, similar to you, literally almost at the same progression, me, you, and fucking Roberto. Our lives are unfolding. The only thing was, like, obviously I came with the baby, and then you have your kid now. But we all literally growing up at the same time. Yeah. Like, and a little bit at a time, I became more willing to use the tools. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I'll use all of these screwdrivers, but I'm gonna leave the hammers over here because I think I'm good. Then eventually, it's I really can't live with myself without constantly laughing at my follies and being like, well, I remember what it's like to think that, and I'm happy I don't think that anymore. And all of those things, but it happens gradually, with each thing. I say the same thing all the time when I talk about my own progression, and I'll say that about you too, because you're my brother. Like, if for some reason, and this is our truth, if your wife left and Emily left, this would be the first people in our lives that will be in better shape than when we arrived.
Right.
First one. Like,
Right.
everybody else has been burned to the ground. And me walking away, I walk away and I point like, oh, that bitch was crazy, right? Because meanwhile, but like, this is the first time that I'm really showing up like lovingly, like really like lovingly, like, holy shit. Like, no, man, if it's my job to just hold it down, then that's my job. And if it's my job to do that, like, I look at it almost like, you know, God put us in these situations, you know, because we're worthy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and for the first time, when you start acting worthy, you start feeling worthy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this time, one of the other main changes is do the right thing even when it's not the most convenient thing, even when it doesn't benefit me, or I don't think it benefits me, because it fucking does. Right. It benefits me way more, but even though it doesn't maybe materially benefit me, or it's not the most convenient or ideal or desired thing, you know, do the right thing, face the music, you know, towards the wreckage of my past. You know what I mean?
I think because maybe you stayed sober long enough this time, right, that you see the benefit of playing the long game, of being like, dude, this is going to suck today, but I'm going to sleep well by me saying no to this thing, this little, me and my friend call it the birds, like a bird chirping in your ear saying, oh, go fucking do this or go do that, like the impulsive disease. You saying no to this today, you'll sleep good a week from now or a month from now, knowing that, like, when those thoughts and those things pass, where, like, I'll be like, I'm ready to pull a plug on this whole fucking thing. I start pulling out the scorecard. And I'm like, look at this. Like, I'm fucking blah, 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 blah. Nobody measures up. It doesn't exist on earth.
I don't measure up.
Right.
To myself.
So I'm like, dude, I just want a whole new fucking life and whatever. And then what I do, I pick up the phone, I call Yariv. He's like, oh, it's a beauty. This is, oh, it's perfect. God is listening. He's weeping. He's weeping.
Well, that's
because you're being honest, you know, that it's okay to even have those kind of thoughts. And, you know, but that's just...
When you're not good enough, nobody else is going to be good enough. Because even if it's the fucking greatest thing, greatest person you ever seen in your life, they're hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not good enough. That person must be a fucking loser too.
Yeah.
You know, so nobody's going to measure up if you don't measure up. And I mean that without ego, to be like, yo, it's okay to just be a person who's doing their fucking best to stay above water.
Right.
Especially at a time like this. The world's a little nuts right now, man.
Dude, it's getting fucking crazy out there.
It feels crazy. If I was not handling my business, I might spaz the fuck out. It's crazy.
I was at a meeting yesterday at Sun's.
I mean, from all angles, son. It's insane right now. There's a lot of pressure. Everybody's under a lot of pressure right now. There's nobody who doesn't have some issue right now. There's nobody who's under zero pressure right now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, this guy was sharing yesterday, and he was like, you know, the pandemic came. I got all this extra money.
Which was dope. It was very dope at the time.
Right, but I didn't have to go to work, and nobody could go outside. And this guy, like, he bottomed out during the pandemic because being locked in your house, getting $1,000 a week, could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And you can't go nowhere. You can't go to the gym. You can't like, you know, and then he ended up getting sober halfway through the pandemic, and we were like clapping. He was there yesterday. And I was like, dude, thank God that I was already sober when the pandemic happened, because that was like my disease waiting for that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, you need an excuse. Don't worry. All your bills are going to be paid.
Yeah.
There it is. And now you can really do it. And I'm like, thank God because I would have been fucking dead.
Yeah, I'm the type of person who deep down hopes for natural disasters just so I could not have to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
Like, that's how fucking fucked up in the head I am.
Yeah. So what's it like now being a sober dad?
Huh. I mean, I've never been a not sober dad. You know? I'm just grateful to not have to be any other way. You know? He's never seen me drunk. I adore the kid. I adore my wife.
How's your relationship changed with your dad since you had a kid?
I get to see him. I mean, he's been a sweetheart, my dad, for a long time with me.
Yeah.
He's
the fucking man, bro.
Great guy. Great guy. We just can never talk about politics together, but other than that, best guy in the world.
Who can?
Yeah, ignore that shit. Just
Yeah.
don't.
With your
what's
dad,
the
you can.
fucking point anyway.
Your son's
Neither
gonna
one
grow
of
up.
us-
He's gonna say something
Neither one
else.
of us is changing anything, so whatever. But yeah, I get to watch him on a new chapter, it's like the next chapter for him.
Because of
being
you.
a grandfather.
Because of you.
Because
You
of
got
my
to
wife.
give that to him and your wife. Obviously,
Yeah,
your wife.
She does way more than I do, man.
Yeah. But it's nice to be able to, like, for me with my dad, because we always had a difficult thing, like, to see him be fucking happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad was like allergic to, like, fucking joy.
Right.
Most of my, because he's like, you gotta work, you gotta, and plus, meanwhile, I'm the one burning half his life down most of my life.
Yeah.
Right? And I would tell him, like, dude, if I'm grateful that we even can talk.
Yeah.
Like, because if my kid did what I did to you, I don't even know if I could, I don't know if I could ever even be around him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to be able to give that's like the ultimate gift that you can be like, dude, here's this, like, thing, this little guy who's gonna.
He's a guy you could just enjoy. You don't have to deal with any of the bullshit, really.
Right. But you get to see another side of your dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. It's got to be amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it wasn't something I don't think he thought was ever going to happen. I didn't think it was ever going to happen.
That's what happens when you're sober.
Yeah, and that's why
All of it's on the table. Anything
I don't
can happen.
have all the fucking ideas. I don't know everything I think I want. I don't know, man. That's why when I'm getting my hands too involved, I'm trying to make shit go my way. Sometimes step out of the way because things just work out better sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm not involved.
Free Willy used to tell me all the time. He used to be like, yo, you can show up and not get involved. I was like, what? Like, that was like some fucking Yoda Buddha shit to me. He's like, dude, you have to show up. If you want to call, he used to tell me, you want to call yourself a man? You're a man? Tough guy? You're a man? You got to show up. But you ain't got to get involved.
Right.
And I was just like, oh my God, that was like news to me. But he told me that 4 years ago. Meanwhile, I've been coming around like forever. But then I was ready to hear it. And once I learned that I can be like support for somebody else. And not everybody else's ideas are fucking stupid.
Right.
You know? And knowing who I am and learning to laugh at myself, you know, I think is the key. Because then I can laugh at myself now because I stay quiet. Or I call you, or we'd be in a group text. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. The best thing, what was it the other day? I think maybe you were there, Big Daddy Glenn. He was like, he said, you know, if I'm in the car and I miss the light, I get angry at somebody else. He says, if somebody else is in the car with me, it might be their fault. And I laughed because I was like, dude, of course, that's me. Like, who's the closest person next to me that I can just lash out at?
Probably a person who loves you a lot.
That wants everything to do with you.
Yeah.
That chose you.
Yeah.
Your wife chose you, man.
Yeah.
You should be proud of yourself
These
for
people
that.
could have been with whoever the fuck. And they're with us.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, we're going to cut out. Yo, Tone, it was a pleasure.
Same here. Same here.
And crush it. Don't forget to find us, Spiritual Experience, Spotify, Apple, Google. We're everywhere. We get a few, we get a few bumps in the ratings. That'd be nice. But either way, we're happy to be helping all of you. We appreciate all the feedback. Like and subscribe. And you guys take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Okay, everybody, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the Spiritual Experience. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Pandora, everywhere. And please find us on Facebook where you can become part of our family. We'll see you around.
Yo, yo.
All right, we're back. Tone said he's got this is the bonus clip.
Yo, let me ask you though. So I make art, right?
Yeah.
And I got these like pieces, like these figures I made. And I know you copped one of them, right? You bought one of them, and I appreciate the support and everything. Which one was it you bought?
The Manhattan Special one.
Dope. But I couldn't help but notice when I came in today, you got it hanging right above the toilet, son. What's up with that?
Oh, what happened was when I first had it out here, people would touch it. And like that white area, I don't know what that white thing it is, but it's very sensitive and it would fucking get dirty all the time.
Yeah,
and
it's paper. It's paper.
People were grabbing it. And I was like, bro, you can't, I would tell people don't touch the toy. And they'd be like, this one? And then they'd fucking grab it. And then I'd be like, bro, don't touch the fucking toy. Whether it was like the helpers that came in or just, because it's very, listen.
Why are they going to touch it though?
Well, because it's, to you, it's nothing because you make it and it's like whatever. And whoever's listening, you need to go follow Tonetank on Instagram, and his figures and his painting and all his shit is incredible. Right? To him, it's like, yeah, whatever. It's like these guys, like, I lift so I don't choke people. Like, he makes fucking figures so he don't choke people. But, like...
So I don't choke myself.
Right. But that's what would happen. Like, it happened enough times that I was like, bro, this guy needs to go where nobody...
But what do you think they're doing in the bathroom alone with that shit,
No.
bro?
So nobody comes in here and goes there. So I put
Really?
you right next to Julio Cesar Chavez, my other idol. And I did that on purpose because I was like... I'm going to end up hurting somebody because it was just so, it would happen twice. It happened twice a week for a month. Yeah, and I was like, no, I didn't know because I didn't know how sensitive that, is it paper, whatever it is?
Yeah, it's just like glossy, like cardboard, like your packaging for a toy.
Yeah, but you got dirty hands. Like people were sucking piss out of the rugs. They're like, yeah, look, this thing is great, Manhattan Special. And they would grab it and I'd be like, fuck you. I'd be like, put it down. Like, what do you mean? Who made this? Who's this guy? I'm like, put it down. And then that's why I had to hide him. But I didn't want to not have it here because I need that thing. That's why I have your, like, and Angus's thing is in the front.
Yeah, you know? His shit's on the door.
Yeah, no, his shit is on the wall. Yeah, but nobody's going back there. Nobody's going to fucking touch it. But now I know every time we go in there, I see the champ, I see you, and I know I'm not alone. Because you were the first one that believed in me. Remember, you made my fucking website.
Yeah.
When I first started, you're like, bro, I can help you with the website. And I fucking tortured you like your crazy Jew friend. And you did it. And I was so grateful. You know, I was so grateful then. I was grateful for the what is it? Bro, the logos on my shirt is still the logo you made.
Oh, wow.
With the little green globe and the guy?
Yeah. I think it was all your idea. I just did what you said.
Yeah, but it don't matter. It's so like your part is like in that. And it's important for people to
Glad
support
to be
each
a part
other.
of it. Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, and your wife is an incredibly talented painter. I didn't know. Now this is super bonus. So you guys better better go into your wallet. Don't be cheap. Like, bro, when I saw when she was doing the paintings of like the neighbors, like that kind of shit, that like, I was like, dude, that's like amazing.
Yeah.
Like, cause that's the kind of stuff that like I really enjoy. It's almost like, like somebody people watching, but then like really bringing, like you could see the life in all of her paintings. Like I love them.
That's Herman, as a mother who is the sole caretaker of our child, because I'm off at work. That is her interaction with the world, is from the balcony watching our neighbors who are from like fairly strict different sects, different religions, different sects of different religions. So there's not really an interaction, but the interaction is that she sees them.
Yeah, but the interpretation is always like positive, like this is humanity.
Yeah, she has a lot of love and respect for them and interest.
Yeah. It's funny because where she's from, they ain't got them over
They have
there.
other people
Yes.
that we don't have over here.
My boy, I'll tell you the story and then we'll stop. But my boy, like similar, right? He came here from Iowa. Love him, right? Wildly talented, super very successful guy in my industry. So he's like, Jared, I heard in New York they got $100 steaks, right? Meanwhile, this guy's he's big partners in a company that has like hundreds of employees. But he's from Iowa, so what the fuck does he know, right? So I was like, Luger's, we'll go when you come. So he comes, right? We're driving him in the car, right? We're chilling. He's looking around. He's like, Jared. First of all, he was in shock that a small frame house that's falling down is $1 million.
Yeah.
He was like, no, and that spray paint on the whole thing.
Yep.
He's like, is that a joke? I was like, no, for real. And we're driving around. He's like, but what's up with all these Amish people?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, bro, those are not Amish people. Those are Hasidic Jews. He's like, what are those? And then I said, basically, they're like the Amish of the Jews.
Yeah.
But like, he literally didn't even know what a Hasidic Jew was. Or, he thought they were straight up Amish. So fucking wild.
Yeah.
And he's on the same earth as us, So to see your wife make those paintings, like, it's amazing. Yeah. What's her IG handle so that way anybody wants to go on there? I'll put it in the show notes too. Because I see them all the time. Is there a link on them to buy them or no?
I think so, man. I mean, the link's in the bio.
Yeah, but it's important. We need to support our own. And they're they're incredible. They're so dope.
It's Terina's Art. TERINASART. Terina's Art.
Yeah, on IG. Go follow her. Go follow Tone. And you guys take it easy. Peace.
Peace.